Hey y'all, happy Seizure Action Plan Week. If you're like, what the F is that? You are not alone. Don't worry. We're here to talk about it. Seizure Action Plan is basically like what to do if you have a seizure. And I know about y'all, but I didn't create one until very recently. So don't feel bad if you haven't. This episode is all about like what it is and how to create one, and who better to learn from than a school nurse who also has epilepsy. I can't wait for you guys to hear this conversation. It's absolutely amazing. But before we dive in, I want to give huge shout outs to our sponsors, SK Life Science and Neurelis, as well as community partners, Epilepsy Foundation of America, the Danny Did Foundation, and Epilepsy Alliance America. Y'all rock. Thank you for believing in this podcast. Okay, here we go. Hey guys, we are here with Jason Raether. Oh my God, I forgot to ask you, is that how you pronounce your last name?
It's really close. It's actually Raether.
Raether.
Long A.
God, you know what? Jason, I wish I could say it's the first time I've done this, but it's not. There are so many times where I get so excited to like chat with someone that I forget to ask how to pronounce their last name. So
no, that's fine.
I'm here with Jason Raether. My bad. Obviously very excited for this conversation because who better to talk about seizure action plans than a nurse, and at that a school nurse, and someone living with epilepsy. Jason, thank you so much for being here this week.
Well, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is awesome. So before we dive into seizure action plans, and like what that entails and looks like and all the tailoring, etc., and how to use them, I selfishly want to talk to you about being a school nurse because I was that kid. Even though I didn't have epilepsy, but I had a lot of chronic health issues. And like I was the kid in second grade who didn't even need to raise your hand, didn't even need to ask. I could just walk out of the room and go to the nurse's office. And first of all, that kind of independence was so dope. Like when you're in second grade, it was amazing. And like later in high school, someone told me, they're like, I was so jealous you just got to leave. I was like, truly, it was the fucking best. Like I just got to walk out. But I've never thought about like, you know, and I'm not proud of this, but I've never thought about like the school nurse's perspective. And I know you've had like a long career even before you were a school nurse in nursing, which I would love to talk about too. But like selfishly, I just want to know like what is it like being a school nurse? Like what does that day to day look like? What does that like big picture look like? I want to know all the things.
Yeah, that's no problem. No, it's actually really, really fun. So, you kind of mentioned me being a nurse and other ways before coming here. So I've been a nurse now for 25 plus years, and this will be my 9th year as a school nurse. And wow. By far, it's the most challenging role that I've ever had. A lot of people are surprised by that because I've worked in ICU, I've worked in ERs, a lot of different spots. But there's every
but
kid.
Those goddamn kids. No, I'm kidding.
No, well, yeah.
kidding.
Well,
sorry.
No, it's an interesting lead-in. But with 750 kids here at my school that could come in at any time, you never.
It's a huge patient load.
It is, and you never. There's a lot of kids that I know about that have this illness or they have this condition, stuff like that. But then any one of them could have something that pops up at a moment's notice. And I have my stethoscope, a few other tools, and just my glitchy brain to kind of, it's true, to kind of work through things. And so, I think a Monday morning would be just a good one just to take you through the day. But every other Monday, we start with attendance meetings here at our school, and we review exactly. So these are the kids that we'll just say after 90 days have missed 5 days so far. They've missed 8, they've missed 10, 15, some of them are 25 plus days that they've missed. And could
that be is that only kids who missed for health reasons? Or
unfortunately, rarely it's that they miss for health reasons. So there are definitely some in there where that is the case, whether it's physical or mental health things that are going on. But we take the time to review them just so we as a team can really say, okay, from teacher's perspective, from my perspective, from administration perspective, what more can we do to try to get these kids here at school? For so many of them, especially at the place I'm at, this is the one safe place for them. Mm-hmm. And so we do that bi-weekly. So it's usually on a Monday morning. We try. We try.
No, that's huge. I've never heard of that. I was a teacher for 5 years. I've never heard of that. And I'm like, everyone should do this. And where, like, no, truly, like, to be like, where are kids? You know, like you said, sometimes it's the only safe place they have. And you're located, watch my epilepsy brain, not remember, but I think it's Sioux Falls.
Yeah, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Then for my day, we get done with that. And then one of the first things that I do is I have, I'll be tending to the needs and to the cares of kids when they arrive at school. So that can be anywhere from 5 to 15 kids come in and see me for anything from medications that they need, treatments that they need, to even, hey, let's change your clothes, let's get you washed up, get your teeth brushed, all those good things, just to make sure that they're ready to start the day. That same kind of thing happens over the lunchtime, especially with my diabetics. And then at towards the end of the day with diabetic checks too. And then there's these couple hours. It can happen at any time, but in between the cares times and everything else, there's unscheduled things where kids are coming down constantly, whether it's for a stomach ache or runny nose, hives. Can happen, and or we get a lot of the kids too where the day's just not going well for them, and so maybe it's not something that they're going to go see a counselor for, but they're going to come see Nurse Jason, and we're just going to kind of hang out for a little bit and go through everything in my office, maybe chill, and then get you back to class. And
that's so cool because you're like the safe space in the safe space.
Yeah, and it's actually it's up on my door too. One of my good friends is a counselor. Gave me these 2 prints, and one of them that's right up on my door is "This is a safe place."
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
that's so sweet.
So
I bet those kids love you. I can just see it now.
I hope so. There's one that I made mad. I found out last week because no, it wasn't that big of a deal. She wanted Tylenol, and I'm like, no, we can't give that out. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that did not sit well. So, but she went back to her class, and she's mad with her teacher. But we try to do everything possible to meet the kids of our need, to meet the needs of our kids.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
and have you? And this might be another ignorant question. I'm just flying it
No.
No. So have you had interactions with kids with epilepsy?
Yeah,
and I'm
absolutely.
just curious as to like what that looks like too, because like, do you disclose that you also have it, or
No, that's a great question. So, as you know, and probably for a lot of your listeners know, for tuning into you and stuff like that, anybody can have a seizure at any time. That epilepsy part comes, once you've had repetitive ones. And so we have, throughout my time here, or if I'm filling in at other schools, a lot of our kids who are epileptics, they'll take their daily med at home during the morning. So like for me, I take medication in the morning and then some at night. Mm-hmm. So for so many of our kids, they what we have, and we can talk about this a little bit, is that some of them have a rescue med here at school.
Oh, sure.
Some of them do not. Some of them carry it on them. Some of them, it is in my nursing office. Mm-hmm. But all of them have what we have here in the Sioux Falls School District is called a healthcare plan, which would be very, very similar to that seizure action plan. And so if it's a new student that's coming in and the parents sit down, and this is, I tell the story a lot, but the parents sit down and the student sits down and they're like, okay, we got something to tell you. It makes us nervous, whatever it might be. But our son, daughter has epilepsy. And so they take me through everything. And I've learned a long time ago, I don't throw that out there that I have it right away, because then sometimes things are missed. They just, he'll take care of it. He knows it all.
Oh, wow.
And
totally.
so we let the family talk through. These are sometimes the triggers. This is what our son, daughter looks like when these things happen. This is what we do for cares. Time it right away. This is what happens at 3 minutes, at 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. This is who you call. Kind of a bunch of those things. And every student is different. Everything that I'm looking for, the teacher is looking for, is completely different. And then at the end of that conversation is oftentimes when I kind of say, well, this is great. We can get this written down and make sure everybody who needs to know knows. And then, and I said, this is something, just so you know, I've been going through since, for 15 years now. And it's always an interesting thing because you're that first statement like that or anything like that, all of a sudden the parent just goes, "Oh," and or the student then just kind of is like, tell me what your story is, and then it's a little bit. I'm like, well,
like, is it a little bit of relief almost? Or totally, that makes sense.
And so we get to chat a little bit about that, and I'm like, this is my story. These are the things that goes on, and so you see that relief in the parents' eyes, and sometimes it's relief in the kids. Sometimes the kid is more interested, and they're like, "Tell me more." So,
well, yeah, because they feel seen. I'm
yeah.
sure.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Totally.
And this as much as I do is that, all my friends, all my coworkers, peers, everybody in the world, even on social media knows I have this. But if you were to look at me, you would have no idea. And so
that's the thing about epilepsy, right? It's just that, that's why we call them invisible disabilities, invisible chronic illnesses, whatever. Yes. The terminology is it is invisible. Yeah, when you look at someone. And I've had so many friends say, like, someone will be like, "You don't look like you have epilepsy." She's like, "What the fuck does that mean? What does someone look like with epilepsy?"
No, and I'm like, yeah. So, but... And usually when it happens is a student may or may not have like an episode or an actual seizure. I'm caring for them and something like that. They'll just come down because they have that funny feeling or that aura feeling, or it's maybe it's not, but it's something that just kind of spooks them a little bit.
Totally.
So someone will bring them down. We'll kind of hang out, and where they're going to be at is not very far from me, or if I'm right there. And then that's usually when that conversation with me and the student starts going on. It has nothing to do with them. They're like, "So, what's yours like?" Oh. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you." Yeah. And then they're like, it's just little things. Yeah. So,
but that's so huge because, like, you might be and probably are in a lot of cases the first person they've met with epilepsy.
Yes.
And then to have it be this caretaker in the school system, like the person who is the comfort space. Like, that's huge. Like, I just imagine how much that impacts that little person, because now not only do they have someone else in their life who has epilepsy, but it's their safe person. Like, that's just huge.
Yeah, and that's kind of one side of it. The other one that I remembered when I really realized what that impact can be like is when I was first diagnosed, I was doing health education work in some of the schools regionally around here. Mm-hmm. And so I'm in the middle of this and have my first grand mal that was witnessed. It was just a mess. It shut everything down for a while. And yeah, we can wait on that story. But
no, I want to hear it. Let's not wait. Let's
okay,
keep
we won't
going.
wait. Okay. Well, there's two of them. One's really funny, and then one's really sweet. But all I remember is that I can't drive. All of a sudden, after this grand mal, all this other things, I can't drive, and so I show
How
up to.
How old were you? Like, when did this happen?
15 years ago.
Okay.
And so I would have been 37.
Okay, wow.
36 or 7. I mean, like we've talked about before, later they found out I had them since I was a kid. They were just missed, but this was the really, really big one that came out. But
I hate that. That's so many people's stories who it took a long time to get a diagnosis. It's like,
oh, yes.
It's like I had to have something big happen. I had to have, and like I just get so frustrated with that because it's like, how much longer are we going to make people have big tonic-clonic seizures in front of a lot of people in order to prove and epilepsy?
and that was mine. And then it took my first doctor was wonderful. It's not that, but it was my second doctor that did all this questions and everything. And then they started going, well, wait a minute, tell me more about this, tell me more about this, tell me more about this. And they're like, Jace, I think you've had these since you're a kid. They were just happening at night and everybody missed them. And I'm like,
oh my God.
So anyway, on to the funny stories.
I forgot. I get so sidetracked. I'm like, what were we talking about? Right. Okay.
No, we could do this forever. This would be fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I start to have rides to go to these various schools for this health education project. And, so here's Jason as you drive up in my own car. Well, now I'm in the same lane to get dropped off as the kids. Here's a second grader, here's a fourth grader. Here comes Nurse Jason. He gets dropped. Yeah. And so it was one day I walk into the school, and it was an elementary school, and this fifth or sixth grader comes up. He goes, "Dude, you're not driving anymore?" I said, no. I said, not for a while, man. Not for a while. He goes, "Oh, DWI?"
No.
And I went, no. And then that made me go, yeah, I got to change my lesson really fast for today. So.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
No.
First of all, just calling you dude, not driving anymore. Like, been there. It's almost like.
Oh no, it's
fifth grader being like, I get it, man.
Okay, so that's actually the sweet story, is the I get it part that's coming up. So no, that was one of my first ones. It's DWI. I'm like, no. And so literally that made me change my entire day's lessons to, okay, this is why Nurse Jason was gone, and now we know his brain is all as
and
weird.
That's an important like this kid's like joke. Well, not. I mean, he wasn't joking.
No, he wasn't.
Kid's question, like, I love that. Like, it helped inform. Like, okay, I need to tell these kids what's going on. You know, like that's so. Props to that fifth grader, man.
Yeah. So. And then I had no idea if it was the same day or it was within a week or two. It was pretty quick. But then this younger kid came up, and we were either just in the hallway or whatever it was, and he's looks at me very seriously. There's this little kid looking at me really seriously. He says, Nurse Jason, I just want you to know that I know what you're going through. And he shows me in his neck he had a nerve stimulator, and I never saw it before. And he goes, if you ever need anything, he said, I'll be here for you. And I'm like,
I'm gonna cry. Oh my God.
Well, yeah, now we're going from snorting to crying. But yeah, so that was. So here's all these doctors and nurses and all these people taking care of me. And it was that moment with that young student that was that identity back and forth, that this is something I've gone through, and even though I'm like 8 years old or whatever it was, I'm here to help you, and I'm going and so I was a lot like you. I was about in tears. And
totally.
so that was that moment that made me realize that as parents are coming in, or different families that I find out, I can share this story. And maybe for a lot of them, they'll go, that's fine. But right. So far, everything that I've seen is that it is something that has been useful for them, a sense of relief, whatever it might be. Totally. And so that's been very cool.
Yeah, well, it's just giving, that feeling of not being alone. It almost decreases isolation. By just
absolutely.
Just by sharing your story, no matter if it's like what you're doing, which is amazing, like in the school with parents, with kids, as it's appropriate, and then or just sharing your story even here. That's why this is around, to this podcast, just to help people feel less alone and feel seen. Thank you for the applause.
Well, no, it's true. It is so true.
Yeah, and the power of sharing your story, because epilepsy has been stigmatized for like 2,000, 4,000 years. I don't know. This is where I don't know. I can't remember numbers or history, but like, it wasn't that long ago that like you could divorce someone for epilepsy in certain states. That was like not, I don't like what in the 70s it finally like eliminated that. So there's a reason why we're afraid to talk about it. There's a reason why we hide it, because of the discrimination that still may not feel as blatant, and it's not legal, but it still happens. So
absolutely. Yeah,
I think that's amazing. Okay, so you were diagnosed 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like where are you at now? How did that journey go for you? Like where?
Well, the whole journey.
I know. It's like, well, I don't think we have a time for
no.
entire journey.
No, we can compact it. But
I like to ask big questions and then be like, go.
And you can, drink your coffee some more, and he's doing fine. We'll just let it go. Yeah, you keep going. I'm going to step away for a while.
Totally.
But no, 15 years ago, was talking with my wife at the bedside, and everything in the room turned gold. And so it was very much that traditional aura, everything, and that's the last thing I remember. And then I went body down, face down hard on the bed. And, for all the people who are watching and listening to this now, if you can't tell, I'm not the most serious person in the world. And so she's kind of like looking, going, yeah, okay, come on, what's going on here? And then...
Right, just thinking you're goofing around or something.
Yeah. And then, just kind of, roll me over, and I'm, decorticate posturating in and having full body tremors.
Oh, my God.
And so that was all of a sudden... I remember the whole room being gold, but I don't remember anything after that. Yeah. And so that was the start of my journey. So pretty soon it's an MRI to make sure there wasn't a brain tumor, which, being diagnosed that late, was their first assumption, and it wasn't. Mm-hmm. But then it was let's hook you up to the EEG. And it's, the bright strobe light, which is like, half an inch from your face, and all these, smile, do this, make all these faces.
Right.
And then we got to the part where they said, take a nap. And over there, I could see the EEG tech, and there was just the tech. That was it. Mm-hmm. And then when I woke up from my nap, there was the tech and all these students. And that's when I went,
oh, shit, that's never good.
No, it's not. I mean... You
never want to be the thing that students are studying.
No, yeah. And I was the study. They're like, hey, come check this out. And I'm asking, I'm going, what's up? And they're like, they'll call you later. I'm like, oh great. I'll wait till later. And so by that evening, I was started on epilepsy medication, 250 milligrams, once at night, once in the morning. And then over time... I
like how that's like no big deal in the epilepsy community. But like you tell that to someone without, you're like 250 milligrams twice a day. You're like, yeah, sounds about right. And then like you tell it to anyone outside, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're like, oh yeah, no, mine's up to 1,000. Like, it's just nuts. Like the amount.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that part's coming. And then over time there'd be, the smaller episodes, the lip smacking. There was other grand malls that occurred. And so during this time, had great care here. It moved up to Minneapolis, Minnesota. It moved back, and had the longest I was in a hospital for was, I think, 8 to 9 days. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember the 5 days before that, because they just kind of kept on going one after another. Yeah. And you're talking about the medication part. I went from 250 in the morning, 250 at night, 2 pills, to, as of last June, I was on 2,250 of one in the morning and at night, and then 1,500 of another in the morning at night, for a total of 20 pills I was taking every day to manage my brain.
I don't know how you were like coherent or awake.
Yeah. Yes. That's kind of a like everybody's even if it's a person that has nothing to do with the epilepsy world or the brain world or anything, they're like, dude, that's a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it really was. But then the happy part of the journey is my doctor now said, hey, we're going to try something else. And we've gone from 20 pills a day beginning of July, it would have been. And now we're down to 5. And the goal is, I know, and the goal is to be down to 1 by next July.
Oh, God. And how are things going? Like, have you seen improvement with?
Yeah, it has been,
Awesome.
it's been great. Every time they would make a med change before, that was my hardest time for about 2 to 3 days. I could have easily, walked into a tree and then just kind of kept doing this over and over. And I would have been like, and you're just kind of just in a fog. And this transition has been easy. And I don't know why, but I'm beyond grateful for it. So if by next July I can be down to 1, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Dude, I'm rooting for you. I really hope that happens. And I love that things are going in that direction. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're not watching on YouTube, Jason just did a little dance, and I support the dance 100%. Yeah, just because, like, I think it's so much of it we just accept. We're like, yep, this is what I have to do, and sometimes, like, it just seems like the amount of medications that we take, at some point we have to be like, guys, this is really fucked. Like,
it was. There was so many times, it's exactly like what you said. I was trying to be Mr. Organized and everything else, and I had my pill bars that were the size of Montana. We can put that in there again. And, just to dump all this stuff in. And there's a lot of times, like in the morning, I'm like, oh, okay, 13 pills, and everything else, and 7 at night. And then there'd be sometimes I'd look down at my hand, I'm like going, wow. I mean, that those moments would hit, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot.
I just want to make sure that we address, Seizure Action Plan. It's Seizure Action Plan Week.
Yes.
If you don't know that, I would definitely recommend checking out seizureactionplans.org.
Yes,
And we'll get into all of that. But I have to admit, at the time of this recording, I do not have one. And I know Jason made a sad face. But my goal is, when this releases, to be sharing my Seizure Action Plan. I've actually created one that you can just copy and paste into notes. Okay, so it's a template, and it also is on, I have to pull this up because I can't remember, seizureactionplans.org, where you can just go click on it and you just copy and paste it into your notes. And I'm going to be sharing how I'm sharing it with people in my life, because as an epilepsy advocate, I've done a really shitty job of doing that, of telling people what to do if I have a seizure. So I want to talk to an expert in seizure action plans.
Oh my gosh.
Well, just in the sense that, like, well, I'm not going to tell your story. Okay, so tell us let's first start with your own seizure action plan and, like, what that looks like for you, because everyone's is different, and that's what I think, like, put, I don't know, a weird taste in my mouth, as I was like, oh, I don't want to, like, this doesn't fit my style or something like that, and I think, like, it's just kind of making it work for you. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't have to fit into a template.
Oh, and that is so perfect. For the seizure action plan, like for mine, the initial people that we kind of shared it with, and it was pretty loose almost in some ways. And that was, here's, my name, my birth date, and these are the triggers, that are common for me for my seizures. Mm-hmm. These are so far what we have seen. So in the infancy of mine, it was really, really hard to really, say this is everything. This is something that, whether it's you, myself, any of the listeners out there, you're probably going to be adding on to this constantly as you're figuring things out.
That's a great point. It's continuously editing.
Yeah, no, it is
updating. Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
Totally.
And So my name, my birth date, here's my triggers. This is what my symptoms look like. This is what I present like when I have a seizure. Those were the ones that kind of changed it the most. And so then that way, whoever had it, because for the longest time, mine was just on my phone, is where it was. And so shared that way, or if I was teaching a class or whatever it is, it's one of the first things that I'd say. And I say, so here's my phone. This is how you get to emergency ID, and everything will be there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, everybody can do it a little bit different. Just please have one. Yeah. And then underneath then is the directions or the basic first aid for if I were to have a seizure. And then so that way, whether it is a nurse, a provider, someone who has them like yourself, though, in that moment when you're watching someone have something like this, it's like your brain completely goes out, and you're like, bleh. And so
no, totally.
No, it does. And so
it's so true. I've had so many seizures, not in front of my neurologist. I'm gonna just put it that, but in front of neurologists.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do.
Yeah, and
because they're not. That's not their practice, right? They're in clinic. They're not. They don't see a lot of seizures, and so just to that point of people's brains going blank.
Yeah.
That happens to everyone.
Yeah.
And
so here's this very basic checklist, just to say, here's the steps you should take, and for me, when I have these, and then along with that on mine is all the contacts to be made to family, to emergency contacts. Here's my doctor.
Yeah.
These are because one of the things on mine is to time it right away. So if we hit this time, this is when you can give me, or used to be able to give me. I don't have a rescue med anymore. That's a different story. But if you hit the 5-minute mark, call 911. Mm-hmm. And if you're just scared, guess what? Call 911. That's fine. It's really okay. And then so there's all those contacts. But then below that, then is my all my medications that I'm currently on. And in the last 6 months, that has changed bi-weekly, and just to try to get through everything. And then, so that way, if it's whatever hospital I go to, maybe I'm not on their record, they know exactly what I'm on, because I'm not going to be able to tell them anything.
Right.
And it's like,
right.
And
you've become. I think we've become unreliable sources.
Yeah. No. I am so far gone when those moments happen. It's like, just take this. But it really is a template that is accessible to all, to say, this is how you care for me. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it might be basic to say, this is, let me go backwards. A lot of it might be, this is how you include on there is this general information on how you care for somebody with a seizure, which is fine. But, we have, thousands upon millions who have seizures and epilepsy. So, but everyone is different. Yep. Every person is different. So this is a little snippet of my story, and this is how you take care of me, Jason.
Yeah, which I think is super helpful, because I don't know, but I learn from examples. So I'm literally taking mental notes. I'm like, I'm going to put that in mine. I'm going to put that in mine. I'm going to change this. The only thing for me is my seizures usually last 7 minutes. So it's do not call 911.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but that's I'm that's the only thing I would really edit is, but I think this is really, really helpful.
Well, and so this is the learning curve, and that goes along with what you said. You have been this amazing advocate for an educator for those with seizures, with epilepsy and everything else, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have one of these.
I know, it's so embarrassing. I don't know which is worse, that I thought Sioux Falls was in Montana, or that I don't have a seizure action plan.
Nah, we'll just kind of go by the wayside for both of them. But when I started in the school district, these were all these people were my friends beforehand. They knew I had epilepsy and all these other things. And there was this something recently that got brought up, and they're like, Jason, we have a process for this. We should make sure the district and everybody else around you really knows. And I'm going, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Totally.
I'm the one telling my peers, saying, hey, you have this diagnosis, you have this, make sure all this is going on. But I missed it for myself, and so did my peers around me. So if it's something you don't have, don't beat yourself up, don't feel bad. Just make that change, and because that was the one where I'm like, geez, I'm so stupid.
Yeah,
and
that's where I'm at right now,
yeah,
Jason.
yeah, and then,
but I appreciate you saying don't feel bad, because it's true. Like, we're all just doing the best we can.
No,
so,
yeah. And so did all this, and then now the people that need to have it, it's on their wall, it's on here, it's in printed form, it's whatever works for them. So there's a lot of ways to do it. There's the templates, there's the websites, and it definitely is something that if you don't have one, or you don't have one for your loved one or for your child, take that time and just kind of put it there, just to make sure that they have the most appropriate, best possible care in that moment. Even if everybody is scared, at least it's something to kind of guide them.
Totally. 100%. I love that. Thank you. This is so amazing and so helpful. And no, truly. Like, I've really enjoyed this conversation, just because I feel like it's so real, it's so honest, and really, you're really fucking funny too, man. Like, so. Yeah.
Again, happy dance. Okay.
Yeah. But so before we wrap up, everyone, once again, make sure you go to seizureactionplans.org. Check it out. It's the Seizure Action Plan Coalition, which is basically like a bunch of epilepsy organizations who are like, here are some examples. Try this if you want, Yeah. So definitely recommend you all do that. But I'm going to ask you 3 questions that have nothing to do with what we've been talking about.
All right, let's go for it.
Okay. Number 1, what is your favorite color?
Blue has always been my favorite color.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Mine too. Number 2.
Okay.
If you could go back and tell your newly diagnosed self one thing, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I think the biggest thing would have been I don't know. Ooh, wow, that one hit me. I didn't need to know it all. When I was first diagnosed, being a nurse, I'm like, well, I have this and I get it, and I can take care of whatever that, I didn't ask questions like I do now. I don't lean on others for support like I do now. I was embarrassed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this. This is going to mess up everything. And then it took me, I had to get my health straightened out, physically and mentally, to just kind of get wrapped around this thing. And a big part of it was just me going, no, I got this, rather than maybe saying, I don't, my brain's doing its own thing. And you may know some things, you dork, but you can ask, you can lean on others, and it took me a while, and that's what I'm doing now. Not only, the asking questions part and getting away from that me part has been gone for a while, but now it's on to helping others.
Okay, and then the last question is, what does it mean to you to be a friend?
Oh, wow. Wow. All these hard things, and then we get to these last 3.
I make you dig.
No. Friendship is something to me that, first of all, it means a lot. I think every person at some time goes through a stage when they feel, that they're that odd person out. They're really not seen as they should be, or whatever it is. But I think what it means to be be a friend is to make sure you're that person that will listen and actively listen, that you're that person that they can turn to for a smile and for support, that they can lean on you and you don't question it. Maybe your plate is overflowing, but you'll take time for them. Totally. No matter what's going on, you know that you're that person. You want to be that person for them that they are for you. Mm-hmm. That's one I think I could go on forever about. I really do, but I maybe that's just a little bit of a snippet right now.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. It's kind of you're just there. You're just there for it all.
No, and literally for it all.
Yeah. Totally.
There's, if you pick and choose on when you're going to be there for a person, I don't think so. Mm-hmm. Then you got, then there's things put up there to begin with. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Oh.
I love it. Oh, Jason, this has been so awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. You're just a bundle of joy, man. And I feel
thanks.
Those kids are so lucky to have, and your kids, because you've got 5 of them, which we haven't. We didn't even talk about. We'll have to do like part 2.
We can do part 2.
Yeah.
I'm so down for part 2.
Yeah, but so your kids and the kids at the school, everyone, very lucky to have you as an inspiration, as a light, and a laugh. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
You are so welcome. Anytime.